Hi everyone, welcome back to Rachel's Enchanting Cakes. For this week's tutorial, we are going to be working with a beautiful edible sparkle that is the sugar sheet cake trend. Everything you need to know, including recipe, in a simple step-by-step format, using your beautiful molds. The world is your oyster. I'm going to show you how to create this gorgeous pattern. The colours contrast beautifully. Another great idea for Mother's Day or any celebration cake. Happy baking, guys, and let's make a start. Start by baking an even-sized cake, so this could be a 6-inch, 8-inch, 10-inch, 12-inch, etc. and level this off so that both halves are exactly 4.5 centimetres deep. To keep things simple, simply add some of your homemade buttercream or ganache directly to a disposable piping bag. I have placed this directly over the rim of a glass to help prevent any mess. A little tip, if you are filling your cake with both jam and buttercream, just place a thin layer of buttercream onto the first piece of cake. This will help prevent any jam from soaking into your sponge. I then take the piping bag and create a well. This will prevent the jam from leaking out from the sides. Using a flavoured jam of your choice, simply place this directly in the centre of that well. For my layer of buttercream in this cake, I then go over the jam with my piping bag. This is a much easier way to do it, and I add a generous layer of buttercream. You want this filling to be exactly 1 centimetre thick. I then smooth this out very carefully over the top and just around the sides. The reason it wants to be exactly 1 centimetre thick is because with the 4.5 centimetre layers, plus this filling, you will have exactly a 10 centimetre deep cake, and the mould that I am using is for a 10 centimetre deep cake. After allowing the buttercream in the centre to firm up for a short period of time in the fridge, add the final layer of cake. Before you crumb coat your cake, make sure it is 10 centimetres deep or just a little bit over. And then simply cover the whole of the cake with buttercream, making it as smooth as possible. For a 6-inch round cake, you will need on average 700 grams of fondant. Simply roll this out on a well dusted down surface and try to keep this in a circular shape. Drape this directly over your crumb coated cake. I keep on adding extra icing sugar just due to the colour that I am using, as black fondant can be more sticky. Negotiate the pleats, taking your time from the top to the bottom. Smooth this out and cut off any excess fondant. Tip: if you place a hole directly into the top centre of your fondant covered cake, this allows any air to escape because I am placing this in the fridge and it will help avoid any potential air bubbles. In order to make the sugar sheet, start by measuring out 180 grams of caster sugar and place this into a food safe bag. To actually colour the sugar, use a professional food gel colour. Simply add a very small amount directly to the sugar that you have in your bag. Seal the bag up and then you literally just mix it together. This can take a little bit of time, but it's a very simple, easy method just to create coloured sugar. Even if you're not wanting to make sugar sheets, if you want to make your own edible glitter, this is the way to do it. Once coloured, simply place this back into your bowl, and here I have some liquid glucose. Now you'll notice it's in some steaming water. This will make the liquid glucose a lot easier to use because it makes it more runny. Don't worry, it will set again as it reaches room temperature. You want to add 2 tablespoons of this directly to your coloured caster sugar and then simply mix it together. I find it easier to start getting your hands in there and really give it a good mix, and then place this back into your food safe bag and make sure it's protected from the air. By protecting it from the air, even the sugar sheet mixture that you do not use can be used at a later date for another cake, but it needs to be protected just like you would fondant. Tip: before you add your cake to your decorated cake drum, use the base of a cake tin so you know exactly where it's going to go. Now my cake has come directly out of the fridge. This is going to prevent damage, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to apply to the cake drum. You need to do this relatively fast because it will start to sweat. Sweating is completely normal and will not damage your cake. But by refrigerating this, it allows me to add it safely to a decorated cake drum without causing damage. Start by placing a small amount of your sugar sheet recipe directly onto some baking paper. Gently place another piece of baking paper directly over the top and roll this out with a rolling pin so it ends up roughly being the same size as your onlay sheet. So in this tutorial, I am using the Scalloped Lattice onlay mould by Marvellous Moulds. However, this principle works with all of the onlay moulds and some of the Simpress moulds. You can have a look at other tutorials on my channel. So first of all, place your mould so it's upside down directly onto your sugar sheet. And then I just go over this with my rolling pin before cutting off any excess and flipping this over. When I have flipped this over, I place a piece of baking paper directly over the top and very slowly and very carefully go over this with my rolling pin, and you'll see the pattern slowly start to come through. Make sure the pattern has completely come through, and then taking a Dresden tool, simply start to remove the pieces that you want. Now this particular mould can be used in two different ways. I am choosing to use the large pattern on the outside, or if you want, you could just have those scalloped pieces. So this is what you're aiming to achieve, and then you want to place this in a preheated oven at 50 degrees centigrade for about 7 to 8 minutes. Whilst that is in the oven, I now want to prepare the cake. So using either a steamer or directly onto the scalloped sugar sheet lattice, when we take it out, you can use edible glue, but steaming your cake will be much easier. This has just come out of the oven and I have allowed it to cool for about a minute. I then place it upside down onto some baking paper, and if you have allowed it to cool for long enough and you've allowed it to cook correctly, it will peel away from the mould. This is still very fragile, so do be careful, but I simply pick this up and place it directly onto my steamed cake. I try to get rid of some of those bits of sugar you've just seen just there that were in the centre of each scalloped piece, because it's going onto a black canvas and I don't want bits of sugar literally everywhere. I just want this beautiful pattern. So gently place it on your cake. This will come with practice. It can be a bit nerve-wracking at first, but the more you do it, you'll realise just how easy it is to actually achieve. And then as you can see, I'm just gently pushing it on directly to the steamed cake. I then simply repeat that process with the second piece. Part of that did break on me, but as you can see, it's very, very easy to fix. And I just try to line it up with the first piece of sugar sheet I have added. And then again, with the third piece, I simply repeat that process. For a 6-inch round cake, you will need 3 pieces in total. Just gently add this to the cake with the steam underneath acting like a glue. And for the finishing touch, I add a few artificial flowers, completely food safe, because I am using what's called a flower pick. So you just insert that directly into your cake, and there you have it. And there we have it. It really is as simple and as easy as that. And I promise you, these images from the camcorder and also the photos do not do this sugar sheet technique justice. It is super sparkly, totally edible, and adds a beautiful effect to any cake. Just another Mother's Day idea, even though it may be a little bit too late, but this could be used for so many different occasions. And remember, these onlays are designed to actually be used with fondant. This was just a new technique that I've really got stuck into and absolutely love. So the world's your oyster. Give it a try, guys. Happy baking, and I'll be back soon with more new, completely free content.